All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to this week's e-commerce and marketing explainer, covering August 4th through the 10th, 2026. My goal today is super simple, to give you the direct, structured breakdown you actually need to operate at your absolute best this week. We are filtering out all the noise and focusing purely on the strategies and platform shifts that will actually move the needle for your brand. Here is our agenda for today. First, we'll run through a rapid-fire Ecom news blitz. Then, we'll shift gears into an operator's masterclass covering AI ad creative, campaign and strategy upgrades, brand and team building, and finally, we'll unpack the AI operator toolkit. Section 1. The Ecom news blitz. Let's start the clock and run through the macro headlines you absolutely need to know this week. First up, Amazon. Look, they just posted a staggering $62.6 billion profit for the quarter, but that was heavily driven by non-operating accounting. The operational number you really need to be paying attention to is AWS hitting $42.2 billion in revenue. That is a massive 36.7% jump. It perfectly shows us that AI infrastructure is compounding incredibly fast and driving real cash, even as Amazon's overall free cash flow dipped into the negative because of some really heavy capital expenditures. And this AWS growth brilliantly illustrates how fast these frontier AI capabilities are commoditizing at the software layer. Just look at this timeline. On July 30th, OpenAI cut the price of their GPT 5.6 Luna model by a massive 80%. Then, literally less than a day later, DeepSeek answered by launching V4 Flash in beta, an even cheaper model that speaks the exact same OpenAI API format. That means developers can switch with a simple config change. Intelligence is literally getting cheaper by the hour. Wrapping up the blitz, we've got 4 quick operational updates. Number 1, BigCommerce is making an aggressive play for mid-market WordPress merchants by teaming up with WP Engine. Number 2, and this is urgent, guys, Google's Content API switches off on August 18th. If you rely on Shopify's Google app, you need to check your feed today so your shopping ads don't just go dark. Number 3, the California AI Transparency Act is officially in effect, so you are now legally required to label authentic-looking AI-generated content. And finally, Shopify saw a major Q2 revenue leap of 34%, proving the platform's health remains really robust, though definitely keep an eye on that 78% metric going forward. Okay, take a breath. The news blitz is done. We can see all these massive tech moves happening, but how do we take these shifting platforms and turn them into concrete revenue for your DTC or Amazon brand? Let's dive into the tactical side of things. Welcome to the Masterclass, Section 2, Mastering AI Ad Creative. So the crucial takeaway here comes from Chase Diamond. He notes that AI ads are fantastic right up until the exact second a customer can tell they are AI. The moment a shopper spots, artificial fingers or a weirdly smooth face, trust just instantly evaporates. So you have to restrict AI generation to the boring stuff, backgrounds, quick variations, resizes. But you must fiercely protect the reality of human faces, bodies, and especially your actual product. Authenticity is, for sure, your highest converting asset right now. But when used correctly, AI is an absolute superpower. Check out this incredible workflow from Kevin King for Amazon sellers. He is drastically dropping his Amazon ACOS by generating hyper-targeted PPC videos for every single search term. You just pull your keyword performance data, feed it through Claude and Higgsfield to get your scripts and storyboards, and then use Kling 3.0 to generate these totally unique video ads. So instead of one generic product video, a shopper searching for a specific feature gets an ad highlighting exactly that feature. It's a real game changer. Let's step back from the creative side and move into Section 3, Campaign and Strategy Upgrades. Here is a desperately needed reality check from the DTC Genius newsletter. Please stop killing your meta ads based on a single metric. So often, media buyers completely panic and pause an ad just because the cost per click looks high on a random Tuesday. But if you look at the data, the most profitable campaigns, the ones with the absolute best cost per acquisition, very often look terrible on surface-level metrics like CPC. You've got to let the actual conversion data dictate your strategy, not some isolated vanity metric. Plus, there are 3 structural upgrades you need to make to your campaigns this week. First, stop letting junior marketers run your email retention into the ground with those basic templates. You need senior strategists rebuilding your flows from scratch if you want to hit that 40% email revenue benchmark. Second, fix your broken Google product feeds. Seriously, it is a massive hidden profit killer across 80 to 90% of ad accounts. And third, brace your campaigns for August 17th because Google is automatically upgrading broad match campaigns to AI Max. Now, a brilliant strategy still requires the right team to execute it and the right psychological triggers to actually make consumers care. That brings us to section 4, brand and team building. If you want to scale up and hold on to your margins, you absolutely must understand the psychology of attribute substitution. Look, consumers scrolling their phones do not have the time or energy to deeply evaluate your product. So they unconsciously substitute a complex judgment for a much easier signal. The classic example? Assuming a €40 bottle of wine you've never heard of must be high quality, simply because of the high price tag. The price acts as a substitute for doing actual quality research. If you can control those attributes, you control the entire perception of your brand. Building directly on that psychology, Ben Leonard insists that true branding is not about your visual identity. It's not a cool logo or a clever tagline. True branding is about relentlessly defending your castle. You do this by defining a truly unique value proposition, maintaining a strict focus on a niche market instead of trying to be everything to everyone, and investing heavily in exceptional customer service. That is exactly how you build a defensive moat that your competitors just can't cross. And when it comes to staffing that highly defensive brand, Marketing Max makes the future of team building crystal clear. The biggest mistake founders make right now is hiring a generalist to do a bit of everything. The companies winning over the next decade will not have massive marketing departments. Instead, they'll curate a super lean team of AI-enabled specialists. You want individuals who are deep experts in one single domain, but who use AI tools to punch massively above their weight class. But here's the catch. How do you track if this lean team is actually making an impact? Well, there is a massive blind spot for most operators right now. You literally have to start manually searching Google's Gemini prompts to see if large language models are citing your brand. Why? Because this massive new wave of zero-click AI discovery, where users get all their answers right inside the chat window, is completely invisible in your standard Shopify or Google Analytics reports. You might be influencing buyers way earlier than you ever realize. So, to empower those AI-enabled specialists we were just talking about, let's close out this explainer with Section 5, the AI Operator Toolkit. These are the exact tools you should be deploying this week. If you are producing creative or managing store data, your tech stack needs an upgrade. Let's run through this first set. FreePeak Picasso is absolutely incredible for rapid, real-time sketch-to-image concepting during your team meetings. Then there's Vidu 2.0, a new video model that finally cracks subject consistency so your product doesn't just warp mid-shot. On the data side, Syncly is a super powerful way to automatically pull actionable insights right out of your chaotic customer feedback. And Bardeen, it's basically essential for automating away those repetitive manual browser tasks without needing to write a single line of code. Rounding out the toolkit, we have Antispace, which is this fantastic fluid interface for workflow organization, basically turning your raw thoughts into actions. Then there's MyAskAI, which can drastically reduce your inbox load by accurately answering up to 75% of your basic customer support tickets. Leonardo AI is still a top choice because it lets you train custom models on your specific product assets, which guarantees brand consistency. And finally, Ideogram solves one of the oldest AI headaches out there. It reliably produces highly legible, accurate text right inside your AI-generated images. Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground today. From the shifting sands of AWS revenue and AI pricing wars to hyper-specific Amazon video ads, all the way down to the exact tools your lean team needs to stay aggressive. This has been a heavy masterclass. So, the provocative question I want to leave you with today is this. Which of these concrete strategies or tools are you going to implement today to step out of the daily grind and actually build a lasting moat around your brand? Don't just listen to this and move on. Go execute on it. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.